There was an old man who lived 3 counties over from where I grew up. Everyone knew his name. Almost nobody had ever seen the inside of his property. He owned 40 acres of forest land. He drove a 20-year-old pickup truck. He wore the same canvas work jacket every winter for as long as anyone could remember. And when he died, his children discovered something hidden on his property that has reshaped how I think about gardening for the rest of my life. One plant from this list of 11. By the end of this video, you are going to know exactly which one it was. Most gardening videos will not tell you what I am about to tell you. They show you how to grow flowers. They show you how to make your yard pretty for your neighbors. They do not tell you that there are 11 specific plants you can grow in your own backyard, on your patio, or in containers on your deck that quietly generate real income for the patient gardener who knows what they are doing. Some pay you back this season. Some take 3 years. One of them, the one the old man grew, takes a decade. But every single one has real buyers, real markets, and real prices most home gardeners have never heard of. 11 plants, every one a true perennial that comes back year after year. Every one legal to grow across the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom. Every one quietly turning patient gardeners into part-time earners while their neighbors buy bags of fertilizer at the big box garden center. Pay close attention all the way to plant number 11. That is the one the old man grew. That is the one that paid for his children's retirement, and that is the one I have saved for last for a reason. Let us begin. Plant 1, Specialty Garlic, Allium sativum. The fast, accessible entry point for anyone who has never grown anything for income before, and the plant I want you to start with this October. Specialty hardneck garlic is nothing like the white papery bulbs at the grocery store. Music, Chestnut Red, Spanish Roya, German Extra Hardy. These varieties produce massive bulbs wrapped in brilliant streaked papers of royal purple, deep rose, and coppery brown. Chefs at farm-to-table restaurants want them. Farmers market shoppers want them. Quality specialty garlic sells consistently at 3 to 4 times the price of grocery garlic. Look at the white bulb in your kitchen right now. That bulb costs the store 30 cents and sells to you for $1.50. Specialty hardneck garlic, grown in your own backyard, sells at farmers markets for $15 to $25 per pound. Growing it is the easiest commercial crop on this entire list. Plant individual cloves in October when the soil drops to 50 degrees. Mulch heavily with straw. Walk away until April. The total active work is 2 hours of planting in fall and 4 hours of harvesting in summer. Everything else happens while you sleep. Garlic is technically perennial. Leave a bulb in the ground past July, and the individual cloves each sprout where they sit, giving you a dense clump the following spring. Commercial growers mimic this cycle by replanting harvested cloves every October. After one initial seed purchase, you never buy seed garlic again. Safety matters even for something as familiar as garlic. Raw garlic infused in oil at room temperature creates the perfect breeding ground for Clostridium botulinum, the bacterium that produces botulinum toxin. Botulism poisoning from improperly stored garlic oil has caused deaths in the United States within the last decade. Every garlic oil must be acidified, refrigerated, and consumed within 4 days, or frozen for long storage. The bulbs themselves in a cool, dry place keep 6 to 10 months with no risk whatsoever. Plant music for the largest bulbs. Plant chestnut red for the most beautiful purple streaked wrappers that command premium prices. Plant Spanish Roya for the most intense flavor chefs specifically seek. Buy seed garlic, not grocery garlic, from a reputable supplier in late summer. Expect $40 to $70 in seed bulbs to produce 10 to 15 pounds your first summer. Replanted from your own harvest each fall, that single plot becomes a permanent annual income stream for the rest of your gardening life. Remember the old man and his 40 acres. Plant number 1 was not what he grew. Keep watching. Plant 2, Echinacea. Echinacea purpurea, commonly called purple coneflower, the rugged prairie native that quietly serves 3 completely separate income markets from a single planted patch. Echinacea is the plant most American gardeners already recognize from suburban flower beds. Dramatic coppery orange central cones surrounded by reflexed petals in electric pink, magenta, or deep purple. The plant stands rigidly upright on tough bristly stems and never needs staking. From a pure ornamental standpoint, it is one of the most reliable performers in the American perennial garden. But here is what makes it genuinely valuable as a cash crop. The roots sell to the herbal medicine market for immune support tinctures and supplements. Bulk-dried echinacea root sells wholesale buyers for $15 to $30 per pound. The seeds sell to native plant nurseries propagating new plants. A single mature plant produces hundreds of seeds per year, and clean-dried seed sells to nurseries for $10 to $20 per ounce. The flowers themselves sell at farmers markets as fresh-cut bouquet stems for $4 to $6 per stem. One plant, 3 income streams. Most home gardeners grow echinacea purely as a decorative perennial and never realize the patch in their front yard is a quiet little business waiting for someone to harvest it. Plant in full sun, tolerates poor rocky sandy soil and actually prefers it. Over-fertilizing causes floppy stems. Seeds need 30 days of cold, moist stratification to germinate. Plant outdoors in late fall and let winter do the work, or refrigerate moistened seeds for 30 days before spring planting. Once rooted, the plants are drought-proof and live 10 to 15 years from a single planting. Hardy across USDA zones 3 through 9, virtually every part of the continental United States and Canada. Safety on echinacea is minimal. The plant is in the Asteraceae or daisy family. Individuals with confirmed allergies to that family can experience contact dermatitis or hives when handling large volumes. The bristly stems also cause mechanical skin irritation. Wear long sleeves and light gloves when harvesting volume. Plant Magnus for the largest, most reliably purple flowers. Plant White Swan for the unusual white variety that fetches premium florist prices. Plant the wild-type species formed for medicinal root production because it produces stronger active compounds than the cultivated hybrids. Plant 3 Yaupon Holly, Ilex vomitoria, the single most overlooked income plant on this entire list, and a perennial shrub native to the American Southeast, currently in the middle of a market explosion most home gardeners have never heard about. Yaupon is a small evergreen shrub with tightly packed glossy oval leaves, smooth pale gray bark, and brilliant translucent red berries in winter. One of the toughest native plants in North America. Tolerates drought, salt spray, poor soil, full sun, deep shade. Grow it as a hedge, sculpt it into a topiary, keep it in a container. Here is what almost nobody knows. It is the only plant native to North America that naturally produces caffeine. The leaves contain caffeine at concentrations comparable to green tea, plus theobromine, the same gentle stimulant found in dark chocolate. For thousands of years, Native American peoples brewed yaupon into a ceremonial caffeinated tea called black drink. European colonists suppressed the practice, and the plant fell out of cultural memory for 2 centuries. In the last 10 years, an entirely new market for American-grown caffeine has emerged. Every cup of tea or coffee Americans drink is grown overseas, imported, shipped halfway around the world. Yaupon is the only domestic caffeinated beverage plant. Small American yaupon farms now sell dried leaf tea for $15 to $40 per pound to specialty tea companies. The market is small but growing fast, and the supply chain is still wide open. Growing it is effortless. Plant in full sun for maximum leaf density. Tolerates any soil. Drought-proof. Pest-free. Hardy and Usta zones 7 through 10, container grown for zone 6 and colder. Shear the outer foliage twice a year and dry the leaves in a dehydrator. Roast lightly for a darker tea or use unroasted for green tea style. A single mature shrub produces harvestable foliage for decades. Critical safety. The leaves are perfectly safe for tea. The bright red berries on female plants are not. Yaupon berries contain illicin, which causes violent vomiting and severe dehydration if ingested. The Latin name vomitoria is a direct reference. When harvesting leaves, remove every berry. Never include berries in tea production. Label your finished product as 100% pure leaf tea. Plant Pride of Houston for the most prolific leaf production. Plant Schilling's dwarf for compact patio container growing. Expect a mature yaupon to produce 2 to 4 pounds of dried leaf annually for 30 years or more. We are 3 plants in, 3 real income streams already on the table. And the old man, the one with 40 acres, still has not been mentioned. Stay with me. Plant 4, rare hostas. The shade-loving foliage plant almost every gardener already knows from their own yard, but virtually no gardener realizes is one of the most profitable propagation crops available to a patient home grower. Hostas are the workhorse of American shade gardens. Most homeowners have at least one. Deep green, frosty blue, neon chartreuse, or variegated foliage in combinations of cream, gold, and silver. They thrive in conditions where almost nothing else grows. Deep shade. Difficult corners. Tree-shaded beds that have defeated every other plant the homeowner tried. The market for common green hostas is essentially zero because every garden center sells them for $10. But the market for rare cultivars is something else entirely. A single division of a sought-after rare hosta sells to specialty collectors for $25 to $150. Empress Wu, Sum and Substance, Stained Glass, Praying Hands, Dancing Queen, names the average gardener has never seen. The arbitrage is beautiful. Buy one premium rare hosta at full retail, typically $30 to $75. Grow it for 2 to 3 years until it forms a substantial clump. Divide it into 4 to 6 new plants each spring or fall. Sell each division for $40 to $150. Your single initial purchase becomes 4 to 6 plants worth more than the original investment every 2 to 3 years, forever. The plant lives indefinitely and keeps dividing for the rest of your gardening life. Practically indestructible. Hardy and Usta zones 3 through 9. Tolerates any reasonable soil. Thrives in partial to deep shade. The only enemies are slugs and deer. Hostas contain saponins, which are highly toxic to dogs, cats, and horses if chewed. The plants are not toxic to humans. If you grow rare hostas in pots on a patio with pets, place them on elevated stands. Direct contact with hosta sap during heavy root division occasionally causes mild contact dermatitis. Wear gardening gloves when dividing mature root balls. Start with 2 or 3 rare cultivars rather than one variety. Empress Wu produces leaves over a foot long, the largest hosta cultivar available. Sum and Substance produces enormous chartreuse gold leaves visible from a distance. Praying Hands has unique folded leaves. Buy from specialty hosta nurseries rather than big box garden centers, because true rare cultivars are rarely stocked at standard retail outlets. A single parent plant produces dividends for the next 20 years. Plant 5, Bleeding Hearts, Lamprocapnos spectabilis, the early spring shade perennial that perfectly capitalizes on a market window most other plants on this list cannot touch. Bleeding Hearts produce one of the most captivating flower forms in the entire botanical world. Long, gracefully arched, horizontal pink stems emerge in early spring. Puffy pink heart-shaped flowers hang in a perfect row from each stem, with white petals extending from the bottom of each heart like a drop of water falling from a breaking heart. The visual effect is romantic, surreal, and instantly recognizable. Here is what makes them valuable as a cash crop. They bloom in early to mid-spring, weeks before most other ornamental perennials are ready for sale. Garden centers, florists, and direct-to-consumer flower buyers desperately want plants and cut stems during this window because almost nothing else is available. A potted bleeding heart in full bloom in April sells for $25 to $40 at any garden center. A bare root division of the same plant sold direct to gardeners through online platforms in late winter sells for $15 to $30. Cut stems for spring weddings sell to florists for $2 to $4 per stem. Better still, the plant goes dormant by midsummer and the foliage disappears entirely, leaving that garden space free for a completely different crop in the second half of the season. Plant bare roots in early spring or fall when soil temperatures are between 45 and 55 degrees, partial to full shade. Consistently moist, humus-rich soil with good drainage cannot handle intense midday summer heat. Hardy in USDA zones 3 through 9. Almost completely pest-free in their preferred conditions. Critical safety. The entire plant contains isoquinoline alkaloids that are chemically toxic to humans, livestock, and pets. Ingestion causes drooling, vomiting, and diarrhea. Direct skin contact with the foliage causes painful weeping rashes in sensitive individuals. Never handle bleeding hearts with bare hands. Wear gloves and long sleeves when planting, dividing, or harvesting. Keep potted plants out of reach of curious house pets and small children. Plant the classic pink form for visual recognition. Plant the white form alba for premium florist sales. Plant gold heart for the unusual golden foliage. A single planting performs reliably for 15 to 20 years before requiring division. Plant 6, ashwagandha. Withania somnifera, the wellness market explosion plant that has gone from herbalist obscurity to mainstream supplement aisles in less than 10 years, and one of the easiest medicinal plants on this entire list to grow at home. Ashwagandha forms a low rustic bushy shrub covered in soft silver-green leaves. Small star-shaped yellow flowers appear late in the season, transforming into bright orange-red berries, each individually encased in a delicate paper-thin balloon-like husk that resembles a miniature Chinese lantern. Exotic, ancient, highly distinctive in any container setup. Here is what the supplement industry will not tell you. The ashwagandha capsules sold at every health food store in America originate almost entirely from large commercial farms in India. The bulk dried root sells from those farms at extremely low prices, gets processed and encapsulated and marketed, then sells to American consumers at 20 to 50 times the original cost. American-grown organic ashwagandha root commands a substantial premium in the domestic herbal medicine market because of supply chain transparency. Bulk-dried American-grown root sells to herbalists and small supplement producers for $20 to $40 per pound. The actual cost of producing it at home is a $10 seed packet and 1 season of low-effort gardening. The arbitrage exists because almost nobody is doing the work. Plant seeds directly in warm soil between 70 and 85 degrees in late spring after all frost has passed. Sandy, stony, poor, well-drained soil with neutral to alkaline pH. Full sun for maximum medicinal compound concentration. Highly drought-tolerant once established. In USDA zones 3 through 8, ashwagandha grows as a single-season annual producing harvestable roots by late autumn. In zones 9 through 11, it overwinters as a true perennial. Safety on ashwagandha is non-trivial. The plant is in the Solanaceae or nightshade family. The leaves and unripened green berries contain toxic alkaloids causing severe gastric inflammation. Only the roots are medicinal, and only the roots should be harvested. When grinding dried roots into powder, wear a dust mask. Inhaling ashwagandha dust causes respiratory irritation and dizziness. The medicinal root, when consumed dramatically, lowers blood sugar and blood pressure. People taking prescription medications for diabetes, blood pressure, or thyroid conditions should consult a physician before consuming or producing ashwagandha products. Plant the standard Withania somnifera species form. Source seed from reputable medicinal herb suppliers. Plant 7, duckweed, limnaceae. Pay close attention to this one because of all 11 plants on this list. This is the one that breaks every assumption gardeners have about how income plants are supposed to work. Duckweed is not a traditional garden plant in any sense. It does not grow in soil. It does not have leaves or stems or roots in any normal sense. It consists of millions of microscopic floating chartreuse green discs called fronds that blanket the surface of still or slow-moving water like a living velvet carpet. Here is the fact that breaks the rules. Duckweed doubles its mass every 48 hours under good conditions. 48 hours, not annually, every 2 days. Starting with a single small tub of duckweed culture worth $15, you can grow enough duckweed in 3 weeks to fill a kiddie pool. In 6 weeks, enough to supply a small business. It is, by accepted scientific measurement, the fastest growing vascular plant on Earth. The markets are smaller than for other plants on this list, but real and growing. Aquarium hobbyists pay $8 to $15 per small portions of live aquarium-safe duckweed culture. Small-scale aquaponics operations buy duckweed as high-protein fish food at $10 to $20 per pound. Backyard chicken keepers and homestead duck and goose keepers buy it as supplemental feed. The emerging plant protein research market is increasingly investigating duckweed as sustainable food, which represents a future income opportunity for early growers who establish reliable, clean production. Use a contained system, never a wild pond, a kiddie pool, a glass aquarium, a livestock water trough, plastic tubs. Fill with clean water enriched with diluted worm tea or aquarium-safe fertilizer. Water temperature between 65 and 85 degrees for maximum reproduction. Full sun to partial shade. Skim the surface regularly to prevent the plant from choking out its own environment. Critical safety, because this matters more than for any other plant on this list. Duckweed is an exceptional bioaccumulator. It hyperabsorbs everything in its water environment. Grown in wild ponds exposed to bird droppings or agricultural runoff, duckweed harbors dangerous levels of Salmonella E. coli, heavy metals, and parasites. Selling contaminated duckweed for food purposes causes serious illness and real legal liability. Grow commercial duckweed in closed, clean container systems with controlled water sources only. Never sell duckweed from open ponds for consumption. Start with a single live starter culture from a reputable aquarium supplier for $15 to $30. Within 90 days, you will have enough to begin small commercial sales while maintaining a producing parent culture indefinitely. We are 7 plants in, 4 to go, and we still have not arrived at the plant the old man grew. Trust the journey. The reveal at plant 11 is worth the wait. Plant 8, elderberry, Sambucus nigra. The king of value-added home products and the plant on this list with the most successful track record of turning a backyard hobby into a real small business. Elderberry shrubs offer a bold, rustic, wild aesthetic. In early summer, the large, sprawling bushes are completely covered in massive, flat, lacy umbels of creamy white flowers, emitting a crisp, sweet, honey-like fragrance. By late summer, the white clouds transform into heavy, drooping clusters of glossy midnight purple to ink-black berries that weigh the branches down. Mature bushes reach 8 to 15 feet tall and equally wide, producing 20 to 40 pounds of berries per plant in a good year. Here is why elderberry has built more successful backyard businesses than any other plant on this list. Selling raw elderberries makes modest money. Selling cooked-down elderberry syrup, tinctures, and immune support products turns the same harvest into 10 to 20 times the income. A pound of raw elderberries sells wholesale for $6 to $8. The same pound cooked into syrup and bottled in 12-ounce containers produces 6 to 8 bottles at $15 to $25 each. $100 to $200 of finished product from a single pound of input. A mature elderberry bush producing 20 to 40 pounds of berries per year, processed into syrup, generates $2,000 to $8,000 of finished product annually from one plant that you bought as a $5 cutting and stuck in the ground 3 years ago. Plant in full sun to partial shade, moist, rich, fertile soil, tolerates temporarily waterlogged conditions. Hardy in Usta zones 3 through 9. Propagation is essentially free. Hardwood cuttings taken in winter root readily in water or directly in soil. A single mature elderberry produces dozens of suckers per year that can be transplanted or sold as starter plants for additional income. Safety on elderberry is critical and non-negotiable. Raw elderberries, plus the bark, leaves, stems, and wood, contain cyanogenic glycosides. compounds that break down into hydrogen cyanide inside the human body. Eating raw elderberries causes intense violent nausea, vomiting, severe abdominal cramps, and diarrhea. People have been hospitalized from improperly prepared elderberry juice. Never eat raw elderberries. Never market raw elderberries for direct consumption. The berries must be completely destemmed and boiled thoroughly for at least 30 to 45 minutes to completely deactivate the cyanide-producing compounds before any syrup or juice is bottled. This is not optional. Plant Nova or York for the largest clusters. Plant Sambucus canadensis for cold-hardy, disease-resistant northern performance. Expect a planted cutting to produce harvestable berries in year 2 and reach full production by year 4. Plant 9 Moringa, Moringa oleifera, the plant that grows like a weed but pays like a premium crop, and the one that requires the most marketing skill of anything on this list. The bottleneck is not growing it. It is selling the finished product. Moringa features a whimsical, airy aesthetic with slender, drooping branches and delicate, feathery compound leaves. Mature trees produce clusters of fragrant, creamy white flowers that resemble small orchids, followed by deeply ribbed drumstick seed pods that grow up to 2 feet long. Structural, exotic, tropical at every stage of growth. A single growing season produces a 15-foot tree from a 1-foot seedling in tropical conditions. Here is what makes it valuable. The leaves are exceptionally nutrient-dense, higher vitamin C than oranges, higher calcium than milk, higher vitamin A than carrots, higher potassium than bananas. Dried leaf powder sells in the wellness market for $20 to $40 per pound. Fresh leaves sell to specialty food markets at lower prices but higher volumes. A single mature tree produces 3 to 7 pounds of harvestable dried leaf per year for 10 or more years. The plant grows faster than any tree in commercial horticulture. The finished product sells at premium wellness prices. The bottleneck is the marketing side. Almost nobody outside specific cultural communities and wellness-focused consumers knows what moringa is. Successful moringa growers are not the best gardeners. They are the best marketers. Moringa is a true perennial in USDA zones 9 through 11, where winters stay above freezing. In colder zones 3 through 8, the plant cannot survive frost on its roots and must be grown in large containers, cut back aggressively before winter, and overwintered indoors. Full sun, sandy, loose, well-draining soil, despises heavy clay and overwatering. Extraordinarily drought-tolerant once established. Safety requires understanding which parts are safe and which are dangerous. The leaves, young seed pods, and mature seeds are all safe for human consumption when properly prepared. The roots and the bark contain anomine and spirochin, compounds that are potent neurotoxins. Ingesting moringa root causes paralysis. Moringa root tea causes uterine contractions in pregnant women and has caused miscarriages in documented cases. Never process the roots or bark for consumption. Stick strictly to leaves, seeds, and young green pods. When pruning roots during winter container shifts, wear gloves. Plant the standard Moringa oleifera species form. A container-grown moringa in colder zones produces harvestable leaf each summer for 10 to 15 years if properly overwintered. Plant 10 white peonies, Paeonia lactiflora, the multi-generational cut flower asset that takes 3 years to begin paying you back and 40 or more years to stop. The plant on this list that asks for the longest patience and rewards the most generously across the longest time horizon. White peonies are the undisputed royalty of the spring-cut flower garden. Massive, deeply layered, pillowy pom-poms of petals that emit an intoxicating, sweet floral fragrance. White and blush varieties look like ruffled silk catching morning light. Individual peony plantings in established American gardens have been documented producing flowers for over a century from a single original root division. Here is the commercial reality. They take 3 years to yield commercial-grade cut flower stems. Year 1 produces foliage only. Year 2 produces small, unmarketable blooms. Year 3 produces the first harvestable stems. Years 4 through 40 produce the full income stream. A single mature peony plant produces 20 to 40 cut stems per spring, harvested in the marshmallow stage when the buds are softening but have not yet opened. Wedding florists pay $3 to $7 per stem for premium white peonies during spring wedding season, $60 to $280 per plant annually, for 4 decades, from a single root division you bought one time. Plant bare root divisions in fall when soil drops to 40 to 50 degrees, full sun for maximum bloom production. Rich, deep, well-drained loam, critical planting depth. The pink eyes on the root crown must be buried no more than 2 inches below soil surface. Planted too deep, peonies refuse to bloom for years or never bloom at all. This is the single most common reason peony plantings fail. Safety on peonies is minimal. The leaves, stems, and roots contain peanol, mildly toxic to pets and livestock, causing gastrointestinal distress if ingested in significant quantities. Symptoms are unpleasant but rarely life-threatening. The heavy nectar on developing buds also attracts ants. Wash all cut stems with a quick post-harvest water dip before transporting to florists. Plant Festiva maxima for the classic large white. Plant Duchesse de Nemours for the pure white double bloom most preferred by wedding florists. Plant Sarah Bernhardt for the soft pink that pairs perfectly with white varieties. Plant once. Wait 3 years. Then harvest income every spring for the next 40. Plant 11. Ginseng, Panax quinquefolius. This is the one. This is the plant the old man grew. This is the plant he buried in the deepest shaded corner of his 40 acres of forest. This is the plant his children discovered when they walked his land after he died. American ginseng grows wild only in specific forest ecosystems across the eastern half of the United States and southeastern Canada. The above-ground portion is unremarkable. A delicate whorl of palm-like compound leaves in spring, a small cluster of greenish-white blossoms by midsummer, a striking crimson berry cluster by autumn. A casual hiker walking past a ginseng patch would never notice it. The aesthetic mystique lies entirely underground. The slow-growing gnarled roots naturally contort over decades into shapes resembling the human form. The Chinese name for ginseng literally translates as manroot. No 2 roots are ever identical. The most prized roots, those grown wild or wild simulated for 10 or more years in undisturbed forest conditions, sell for $600 to $2,000 per pound. $600 to $2,000 per pound for a root grown in forest soil, with essentially zero input cost beyond the original seed, by a gardener who does almost nothing for 10 years except protect the planting and let nature do the work. This is why the old man drove a 20-year-old pickup truck and wore the same canvas jacket every winter. He did not need anything else. Hidden in his 40 acres of forest were roots representing $2 to $3 million of harvestable value, planted across 40 years, with each year's planting reaching maturity at the end of a 10-year cycle. He was, in the quietest possible way, a millionaire. Here is the brutal honesty of ginseng. This is not a beginner crop. Not a fast crop, not an easy crop. Deep forest shade with 75 to 90% natural canopy cover. Rich, moist, deeply loamy forest soil. Cold winter dormancy of at least 1,000 hours below 50 degrees. Usta zones 4 through 8. The seeds themselves require 18 to 22 months of moist, cold stratification before they even sprout. The roots take a minimum of 7 years to reach legal harvestable size and 10 or more years to reach premium price tiers. And the risks across that decade are real. Poachers actively hunt ginseng in private forests across Appalachia and the Midwest. Rodents eat the seeds. Late frosts kill emerging shoots. Excessive rain causes root rot. A single bad year in year 9 of a 10-year cycle can erase nearly a decade of work. Safety on ginseng is genuinely important and frequently overlooked. The root is a celebrated adaptogen used in traditional Asian medicine for thousands of years. Raw consumption or improper dosage causes what is called ginseng abuse syndrome, including insomnia, elevated blood pressure, severe headaches, and heart palpitations. Ginseng interferes with prescription blood thinners and causes dangerous interactions with diabetes medications, blood pressure medications, and antidepressants. Never market or sell ginseng products without explicit dosage disclosures and medication interaction warnings. Plant American ginseng, Panax quinquefolius, the species native to North American forests. The wild simulated growing method places stratified seeds directly into raked forest leaf litter under existing canopy and lets the seeds emerge naturally over 2 to 3 years. This produces roots with the gnarled, contorted shapes that command premium prices in the Asian export market. Source seeds from established ginseng nurseries that sell stratified seeds ready for fall planting. A thoughtful first planting of 1 to 2 pounds of seeds produces harvestable roots in year 7 to 10, with the most valuable roots remaining in the ground for 15 or more years. And now you know which plant the old man grew. 40 acres of forest, 40 years of patience. The smallest possible footprint above ground, the most valuable possible harvest below it. He never advertised what he was doing. He simply harvested mature roots every autumn, cured them properly, and shipped them quietly to wholesale buyers who paid him what each year's roots were worth. By the time he died, his children inherited a 40-acre forest containing more retirement income than any pension fund could have provided. One plant, one commitment, one generation of patience. That is the real meaning of growing perennials for money. 11 plants. Every single one a real income stream for the patient American, Canadian, or British home gardener willing to do the actual work rather than dreaming about it. Some of these plants pay you back this year, some across the next decade, one across a lifetime. Garden centers and supplement companies have built billion-dollar industries around selling Americans products that almost any patient gardener could grow at home. Specialty garlic, wild simulated ginseng, American Yaupon tea, organic ashwagandha root, backyard elderberry syrup, premium hosta divisions. Every single one of these markets is open to small home growers and is currently undersupplied. Pick one, just one. Start with the plant that fits your climate, your space, and your timeline. Plant it this season. Tend it for 1 year. See what happens. The first harvest is always the smallest. The fifth harvest is always the one that changes how you think about gardening for the rest of your life. Subscribe to this channel before you go, because next week we cover the specific business details of selling specialty garlic at farmers markets and online platforms. Drop one comment below telling me which of the 11 plants you are planning to try first and which country you are gardening in, because I read every single comment and your answers shape exactly what I cover next. The garden is yours. The income is waiting. Stop watching videos and start planting.